Marcus held his dying daughter's hand. Emma had been in a coma for 6 months. The hospital wanted $200,000 by Friday, or they'd move her to a county facility where she'd die. Marcus had nothing left. No money. No hope. Only 3 days to save her. Before you watch full story, comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. Marcus Johnson wiped the sweat from his forehead as he finished mopping the marble floors of the Grand Plaza Hotel. It was 11 p.m., and his shift was finally ending. His back ached, his hands were rough from years of cleaning, but he smiled thinking about his daughter. "Papa will be home soon, Emma," he whispered to himself. Emma was his entire world. His beautiful 8-year-old daughter with bright brown eyes and a smile that could light up the darkest room. After his wife Sarah died from cancer 3 years ago, Emma became his reason to breathe, his reason to wake up every morning and work 2 jobs. Marcus grabbed his jacket and headed toward the staff exit. The cold November wind hit his face as he stepped outside. He pulled his jacket tighter and started walking toward the bus stop. The streets were quiet, almost empty. Suddenly, he heard screaming. "Help! Someone help me!" Marcus turned around and saw a woman running toward him. She was wearing an expensive dress and diamond jewelry that sparkled under the streetlights. Behind her, 3 men were chasing her with guns. "Please! Help me," the woman cried. Marcus didn't think. He didn't hesitate. He ran toward her. "Get behind me!" Marcus shouted. The woman stumbled and fell. Marcus stood in front of her, his arms spread wide, shielding her with his body. His heart was pounding like thunder in his chest. "Move away, old man," one of the attackers yelled. "No," Marcus said firmly. "You'll have to go through me first." The men laughed. One of them raised his gun. "Big mistake," the gunman sneered. Bang! The sound echoed through the empty street. Marcus felt something hot pierce through his chest. The pain was instant, burning, terrible. He fell to his knees, his hand pressing against the wound. Blood poured between his fingers. "Marcus," the woman screamed. But Marcus couldn't focus on her. As he fell to the ground, one thought consumed his mind. "Emma, my Emma, who will take care of my Emma?" The world went black. Marcus woke up 3 days later in a hospital bed. The white ceiling above him was blurry. Machines beeped around him. His chest felt like it was on fire. "Mr. Johnson, you're awake." A nurse rushed to his side. "Don't move. You were shot. You're very lucky to be alive." "Emma." Marcus tried to sit up, but the pain forced him back down. "My daughter, where is my daughter?" "She's here," a voice said from the corner of the room. Marcus turned his head and saw the woman he had saved. She looked different now, composed, powerful, dressed in an expensive business suit. Her eyes were red, like she had been crying. "Who are you?" Marcus asked weakly. "My name is Victoria Sterling," the woman said, walking closer to his bed. "I'm the CEO of Sterling Enterprises. You saved my life 3 nights ago." Marcus didn't care about her name or her title. "Where is Emma? Where is my daughter?" Victoria's face fell. She looked at the floor, unable to meet his eyes. "Mr. Johnson. I'm so sorry. When you were shot, Emma was home alone. When you didn't return, she tried to come looking for you. She ran into the street and, there was an accident. A car hit her." Marcus felt his world collapse. "No, no, no, no. She's alive," Victoria said quickly, tears streaming down her face. "But she's in a coma. She's in the intensive care unit. The doctors don't know when she'll wake up." Marcus tried to get out of bed, but his body wouldn't cooperate. He screamed in frustration and pain. "This is your fault. If I hadn't stopped to save you, I would have been home. Emma would be safe. Victoria was crying openly now. I know. I know, and I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. Those men were trying to kidnap me because of my company. You're an innocent man who got caught in my mess. Your daughter is suffering because of me. Marcus closed his eyes. Anger, grief, and despair washed over him like a tidal wave. Get out. Just get out. Mr. Johnson, please. Get out. Marcus roared. Victoria backed away, her hand covering her mouth as she sobbed. She left the room quietly, leaving Marcus alone with his pain and his broken heart. 2 weeks passed. Marcus recovered enough to leave his hospital bed. The doctors said he was lucky, the bullet had missed his heart by inches. But Marcus didn't feel lucky. He felt cursed. Every day, he sat beside Emma's hospital bed. His little girl lay there, so small and fragile, with tubes and wires connected to her body. The machines breathed for her. The monitors tracked her heartbeat. Wake up, baby, Marcus whispered, holding her small hand. Papa is here. Please wake up. But Emma didn't wake up. The doctors said her brain had suffered severe trauma. They didn't know if she would ever wake up. And even if she did, they didn't know what kind of damage might remain. Marcus lived in the hospital. He refused to leave Emma's side. He slept in a chair next to her bed. He ate whatever the nurses brought him. He didn't go home. He couldn't bear to see Emma's empty room, her toys waiting for her, her drawings on the refrigerator. The hospital bills started piling up. Marcus had lost both his jobs because he couldn't work. The surgery, the intensive care, the medications, everything was expensive. So expensive that Marcus couldn't even think about how he would pay for it all. One afternoon, a nurse came into Emma's room with an envelope. Mr. Johnson, this came for you. Marcus opened it with shaking hands. Inside was a check for $500,000. There was also a note written in elegant handwriting. I cannot undo what happened. But I can make sure Emma gets the best care possible. Please accept this. It's the least I can do. Victoria Sterling. Marcus stared at the check. $500,000. Enough to pay for everything. Enough to save Emma if she woke up. Enough to give her the treatment she needed. But looking at that check, Marcus felt nothing but anger. This money couldn't bring back the life Emma had before. This money couldn't erase the fact that his daughter was lying in a coma because he had saved Victoria Sterling's life. This money was nothing but guilt money, blood money. Marcus tore the check into pieces and threw it in the trash. Victoria Sterling sat in her penthouse office, overlooking the city. She was one of the richest women in the country. Her company was worth billions. She had everything money could buy, cars, houses, jewelry, power. But she felt like the poorest person in the world. Every night, she dreamed about that night. She saw Marcus stepping in front of her. She heard the gunshot. She saw him fall. And then she saw little Emma lying in a hospital bed, fighting for her life. Victoria had sent the check to Marcus, hoping it would help. But her assistant told her he had torn it up. He wanted nothing to do with her or her money. How can I fix this? Victoria asked herself every day. How can I make this right? She tried to focus on her work, but she couldn't. Her board members noticed her distraction. Her competitors started gaining ground. But Victoria didn't care about any of it. She kept thinking about Marcus and Emma. One night, Victoria made a decision. She drove to the hospital. It was late, past visiting hours, but she used her influence to get inside. She found Emma's room and stood outside, looking through the window. Marcus was sitting beside Emma's bed, holding her hand, talking to her softly. His face was thin and tired. His clothes were worn. He looked like a man who had lost everything. Victoria felt tears rolling down her cheeks. She wanted to go inside, to apologize again, to beg for forgiveness. But she knew Marcus didn't want to see her. So she just stood there, watching, feeling the weight of her guilt crushing her soul. "I will fix this," Victoria whispered. "I promise. I will make this right, no matter what it takes." Victoria threw herself into action. She couldn't change the past, but maybe she could change the future. She started researching coma patients and brain injuries. She called the best neurologists in the world. She read medical journals. She attended conferences. She learned that there were experimental treatments available, new technologies that might help Emma. But they were expensive and not covered by insurance. They required specialists from different countries. They required equipment that only a few hospitals in the world had. Victoria didn't care about the cost. She started making arrangements. She contacted the Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, medical centers in Switzerland and Germany. She flew doctors to come and evaluate Emma's case. But there was a problem. Marcus had to agree to the treatments. And Marcus wanted nothing to do with Victoria. Victoria tried to send messages through the nurses. She tried to send letters. But Marcus refused everything. He didn't trust her. He didn't want her help. He blamed her for everything that had happened. "Why won't he let me help?" Victoria cried to her assistant, Rebecca. Rebecca, a kind woman in her 50s, put a hand on Victoria's shoulder. "Because money can't fix everything, Victoria. This man lost his wife to cancer. Now his daughter is in a coma. He feels powerless. And your money reminds him of that powerlessness. Then what can I do?" Victoria asked desperately. "Show him you care. Not with money. Show him with actions. Show him you understand his pain." Victoria started visiting the hospital every night. She didn't announce herself. She didn't try to talk to Marcus. She just came and sat in the waiting area, sometimes for hours, just to be near Emma. She learned Marcus's routine. Every morning at 6, he would go to the hospital cafeteria to get coffee. That's when Victoria would slip into Emma's room. She would sit beside Emma's bed and talk to her softly. "Hello, Emma. My name is Victoria. You don't know me, but your father is a hero. He's the bravest man I've ever met. He saved my life, and I'm so sorry that you're here because of me." Victoria would read to Emma. She brought children's books and read them out loud. She told Emma stories about her own childhood, about her own mother who had passed away when Victoria was young. "Your papa loves you so much, Emma. He sits here every day, waiting for you to wake up. He talks to you about everything. He tells you about his day, about the birds he saw outside the window, about how the nurses are nice to him. He never stops hoping. And neither will I." Victoria did this every single day for 3 months. She never told anyone. She never tried to get credit for it. She just came, sat with Emma, talked to her, and left before Marcus returned. One night, something incredible happened. Victoria was sitting beside Emma, reading her favorite book, The Little Prince, when she saw Emma's finger move. It was tiny, barely noticeable. But Victoria saw it. "Emma?" Victoria whispered, her heart racing. "Emma, can you hear me?" Emma's eyelids fluttered. Victoria pressed the emergency button. Nurses rushed in. Doctors came running. Victoria stood back, her hand covering her mouth, hope and fear mixing in her chest. Marcus burst into the room moments later. "What's happening? What's wrong with Emma?" "Mr. Johnson," the doctor said with a smile, "your daughter is showing signs of waking up. Her brain activity is increasing. This is very good news." Marcus fell to his knees beside Emma's bed. "Emma, baby, it's Papa. I'm here. I'm right here." Emma's eyes slowly opened. They were confused, unfocused, but they were open. She looked at her father. "Papa?" Her voice was so weak, so soft, but Marcus heard it clearly. "Yes, baby. Yes, it's Papa." Marcus was crying, laughing, holding Emma's hand to his cheek. "You're awake. You're finally awake." Victoria watched from the corner of the room, tears streaming down her face. She tried to slip out quietly, but Emma's voice stopped her. "The lady." Emma whispered. "The story lady." Everyone turned to look at Victoria. Marcus saw her for the first time, standing there in the shadows, tears on her face. "What?" Marcus was confused. "What story lady?" The nurse spoke up. "Mr. Johnson, this woman has been coming here every night for 3 months. She sits with Emma and reads to her. We thought you knew." Marcus stared at Victoria in shock. You've been coming here?" Victoria nodded, unable to speak. "Every night?" "Yes," Victoria whispered. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intrude. I needed to do something. I needed to be here." Emma's recovery was slow but steady. She had to relearn many things: how to walk properly, how to hold a spoon, how to write. But she was awake, she was alive, and she was fighting. Marcus learned more about Victoria's visits. The nurses told him everything. How Victoria would sit for hours, reading to Emma, talking to her, encouraging her. How Victoria paid for special equipment that made Emma more comfortable. How Victoria consulted with doctors all over the world, searching for ways to help. All without asking for credit. All without demanding gratitude. One afternoon, Marcus found Victoria sitting in the waiting area. She looked tired, worn down by months of guilt and sleepless nights. Marcus sat down beside her. They sat in silence for a long moment. "Why did you do it?" Marcus finally asked. "Why did you keep coming?" Victoria looked at her hands. "Because it was my fault. Because you sacrificed everything to save me, and your daughter paid the price. I couldn't just walk away and pretend it didn't happen. I couldn't just throw money at the problem and feel better. I needed to be here. I needed Emma to know that someone cared, that someone was sorry." "Emma asked about you this morning," Marcus said quietly. "She said the story lady has a sad voice. She said she wants the story lady to be happy." Victoria started crying. "How can she think about my happiness? After everything?" "Because that's who Emma is," Marcus said, his own voice breaking. "She has a pure heart. Just like her mother did." Marcus took a deep breath. "I blamed you for everything. I was so angry. I wanted to hate you. But you're not the person who pulled the trigger. You're not the person who chose violence. You're just someone who was in danger, someone who needed help. And I chose to help you. That was my choice, not yours. But Emma is awake because you never gave up on her. The nurses told me everything. You brought in specialists. You researched treatments. You sat with her every single night. You gave her your time, your presence, your heart. That's worth more than any amount of money." Victoria looked at Marcus with red, swollen eyes. "Can you ever forgive me?" Marcus was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Emma already has. She doesn't blame you. And if my 8-year-old daughter can forgive you, then I can too." 6 months later, Emma was walking again. She still needed physical therapy, but her spirit was strong. Her smile had returned. Her laughter filled the hospital corridors. Victoria had become a regular part of their lives. She visited Emma every day, bringing books, toys, and stories. She helped Marcus pay for Emma's treatment, not as charity, but as something she insisted on doing. "You saved my life," Victoria told Marcus. "Let me help save Emma's future." Marcus finally accepted. Not because he needed the money, but because he understood that Victoria needed to give. She needed to be part of Emma's healing. It was the only way Victoria could heal too. But something else was growing between Marcus and Victoria. A friendship. A bond forged through pain, guilt, forgiveness, and hope. Marcus learned about Victoria's life. She wasn't just a rich businesswoman. She was an orphan who had built her empire from nothing. She had no family. She worked 80 hours a week because she had nothing else in her life. She was lonely, despite all her wealth. Victoria learned about Marcus's struggles. How he had worked 3 jobs to pay for his wife's cancer treatment. How he had held Sarah's hand as she took her last breath. How he had promised her he would take care of Emma, no matter what. They were 2 wounded souls who found understanding in each other. One sunny afternoon, Emma was sitting in the hospital garden with Marcus and Victoria. She was drawing pictures with crayons, her tongue sticking out in concentration. "Papa," Emma said suddenly. "Why do you and Miss Victoria look sad when you think I'm not watching?" Marcus and Victoria exchanged surprised glances. "We're not sad, sweetheart," Marcus said gently. "We're happy you're getting better." "But you look at each other with sad eyes," Emma insisted. "Like you want to say something but you can't. Children see things adults try to hide." Victoria smiled softly. "You're very observant, Emma. Mama used to say that when people care about each other, they should say it," Emma said matter-of-factly. "Before it's too late. She told me that before she went to heaven." Marcus felt his throat tighten. Sarah had said those exact words to him before she died. Emma looked at Victoria. "Do you like my papa, Miss Victoria?" Victoria's cheeks turned red. "Emma, that's not. Because Papa likes you," Emma continued innocently. "He smiles different when you're here. He smiled like that with Mama." Marcus wanted to disappear into the ground. But Emma wasn't finished. "And you need a family, Miss Victoria. You told me you're lonely. Papa and I can be your family. Right, Papa?" Marcus looked at Victoria. Really looked at her. Not as the woman he had saved. Not as the reason Emma had been hurt. But as Victoria, a kind, broken, beautiful soul who had spent months trying to make things right. And Victoria looked back at Marcus. She saw not just a janitor who had taken a bullet for her. She saw a father's love. She saw strength and kindness. She saw someone who understood loss and pain. "Emma," Victoria said softly, kneeling down to the girl's level. "Your papa is a wonderful man. And you are the most special little girl I've ever met. I would be honored to be part of your family. If your papa agrees." Emma looked at Marcus with hopeful eyes. "Papa?" Marcus felt tears building in his eyes. After Sarah died, he thought he would never feel anything like love again. He thought his heart had died with his wife. But here, in this hospital garden, with his daughter smiling and Victoria looking at him with gentle eyes, he felt something warm bloom in his chest. "I think," Marcus said slowly, "that would be wonderful." Over the next year, everything changed. Emma was discharged from the hospital. Victoria bought a house with a garden where Emma could play safely. She insisted Marcus and Emma live there. "It's too much," Marcus protested. "It's not a gift," Victoria explained. "It's what Emma needs. And what I need. I need you both to be safe and happy. Please, Marcus. Let me do this." Marcus agreed. Not just for Emma, but because he wanted to be near Victoria too. Victoria reduced her work hours. She had spent 15 years building her empire, but now she realized that empire meant nothing if she had no one to share it with. She started coming home early. She helped Emma with her homework. She learned to cook Marcus's favorite meals, even though she burned everything at first. Marcus got a new job as a building manager at one of Victoria's properties. But it wasn't charity, he earned his position. He was good at his work. He was kind to the tenants. He fixed problems efficiently. Emma blossomed. Her physical therapy was complete. Her laughter returned. She made friends at her new school. And she had two parents now, her papa and Miss Victoria, who Emma started calling Vicky Mom. The first time Emma called her that, Victoria cried for an hour. Happy tears. 2 years after the shooting, on a cool autumn evening, Victoria and Marcus sat on the porch while Emma slept inside. The stars were bright above them. Do you ever regret it? Victoria asked quietly. Stepping in front of that bullet? Marcus thought about the question. He thought about the pain, the anger, the fear he had felt. He thought about watching Emma in that coma, wondering if she would ever wake up. But then he thought about everything that came after. The forgiveness. The healing. The family they had built. The love that had grown in the ruins of tragedy. No, Marcus said finally. I don't regret it. Because that bullet led me to you. It gave Emma a second chance at life. It taught me that even the worst moments can lead to beautiful things. Victoria reached over and took his hand. Marcus Johnson, you are the best man I have ever known. You loved me when I was just a stranger. You forgave me when you had every right to hate me. You let me into your family when I had no one. She turned to face him fully, tears in her eyes. I love you. I love Emma. I want to spend the rest of my life making you both happy. Will you marry me? Marcus laughed through his tears. Isn't the man supposed to ask that question? I'm a CEO, Victoria said with a smile. I'm used to making the first move. Marcus pulled Victoria close and kissed her. Yes, he whispered against her lips. 1,000 times yes. Inside the house, Emma peeked through the window and saw them embracing. She smiled and did a little happy dance. I knew it. I knew it, she whispered to herself. 6 months later, they got married in a small ceremony. Emma was the flower girl, wearing a white dress and a crown of daisies. Marcus wore a simple suit. Victoria wore a beautiful gown, but the most beautiful thing about her was her smile. The wedding was small, just a few friends, some nurses from the hospital who had helped Emma, and Rebecca, Victoria's loyal assistant. When Marcus and Victoria exchanged vows, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Marcus spoke first. Victoria, you came into my life on the worst night imaginable. But you turned that tragedy into something beautiful. You showed me that forgiveness can heal anything. You taught Emma that kindness matters more than money. You gave us a family again. I promise to love you, protect you, and stand by you, just like I did on that street 2 years ago. Except this time, I'm not taking a bullet, I'm catching a blessing. Victoria was crying as she spoke. Marcus, you sacrificed everything for a stranger. You could have walked away, but you didn't. You stood between me and death without hesitation. You are a hero, not just to me, but to everyone who knows you. You taught me that real wealth isn't measured in dollars, it's measured in love, in family, in the moments we share. I promise to love Emma as my own daughter. I promise to honor your late wife Sarah's memory by being the best stepmother I can be. And I promise to love you with all my heart, every day, for the rest of my life. When they kissed, Emma cheered loudly, making everyone laugh. That night, after the wedding reception, Marcus sat alone in the garden. He looked up at the stars and spoke softly. Sarah, I hope you're not mad at me for moving on. I loved you so much. I still do. But Emma needed a mother, and I needed someone to share this life with. Victoria is good to us. She loves Emma like you did. She makes me smile again. The wind rustled through the trees, gentle and warm. Marcus felt a peace in his heart, like Sarah was giving him her blessing. He pulled out an old photo of Sarah from his wallet. Thank you for giving me Emma. Thank you for teaching me how to love. I'll never forget you. But I'm ready to be happy again. Victoria appeared at the garden door. Is everything okay? Marcus nodded, putting the photo away. Everything is perfect. Victoria sat beside him. Are you thinking about Sarah? Yes, Marcus admitted. But in a good way. I think she would have liked you. I wish I could have met her, Victoria said softly. She raised an amazing daughter. We raised an amazing daughter, Marcus corrected. You're her mother now too. Victoria leaned her head on Marcus's shoulder. I love you both so much. Sometimes I can't believe this is my life. 2 years ago, I had everything money could buy but nothing that mattered. Now I have everything that matters. Because of a bullet, Marcus said thoughtfully. Because of your courage, Victoria corrected. Because you chose to be a hero. 5 years after the shooting, Marcus, Victoria, and Emma were a true family. Emma was now 13 years old, smart, kind, and healthy. She had no memory of the accident anymore, just vague dreams sometimes. But she knew her story. Her parents had told her everything. Victoria's company was more successful than ever. But now she ran it differently. She started programs to help single parents like Marcus had been. She funded hospitals and research for coma patients. She used her wealth to make a difference. Marcus managed several properties now, but he also volunteered at hospitals, talking to families of coma patients, giving them hope. Emma wanted to be a doctor when she grew up. She said she wanted to help people wake up, like she had woken up. One evening, the three of them visited the street where it all happened. Marcus had avoided this place for years, but Victoria suggested they go together. They stood there in silence, looking at the spot where Marcus had taken the bullet. This is where you saved Vicky, Mom? Emma asked. Yes, Marcus said. And this is where I almost lost you. Victoria added quietly. But you didn't lose me, Marcus said. And look what we have now. Emma hugged both of them. Papa, you're a superhero. You didn't have powers or a cape, but you saved someone. And then you saved me too by never giving up. Marcus kissed the top of Emma's head. You saved yourself, baby. You're the strongest person I know. Victoria looked at the street, then at her husband and daughter. Something terrible happened here. But something beautiful came from it. We became a family. Do you think things happen for a reason? Emma asked. Marcus and Victoria exchanged a glance. They had asked themselves that question many times. I don't know if things happen for a reason, Marcus said carefully. But I know we can choose what we do after things happen. We can choose to stay angry or we can choose to forgive. We can choose to give up or we can choose to keep fighting. We chose forgiveness and hope. And that made all the difference. Emma was 18 now, accepted into medical school. The morning she got her acceptance letter, she ran through the house screaming with joy. Marcus and Victoria were older now, with gray hair and laugh lines around their eyes. But they were happy. Deeply, truly happy. That evening, they had a celebration dinner. Emma raised her glass. I want to make a toast, she said. To Papa, who taught me that courage means protecting others even when you're scared. To Vicky, Mom, who taught me that guilt can transform into love if you let it. And to Mama Sarah, who I never got to know but who gave me the best papa in the world. This family started with tragedy, but it became the greatest blessing of my life. I love you both so much. Marcus and Victoria were crying as they clinked glasses with Emma. After dinner, Marcus and Victoria stood in the garden, holding hands. We made it, Victoria whispered. We actually made it. I never doubted we would, Marcus replied. That bullet didn't destroy our lives. It changed them. It brought us together. It taught us what really matters. A single dad, a millionaire, and a little girl in a coma, Victoria said thoughtfully. We were the most unlikely family. But the best family, Marcus added. Somewhere above them, the stars twinkled brightly, and a gentle breeze moved through the garden, like a whisper of approval, like Sarah's spirit watching over them with a smile. The bullet that should have ended everything became the beginning of something beautiful. A story of sacrifice, forgiveness, healing, and love that would be passed down through generations. Because sometimes, the worst moments of our lives lead to the best chapters. Sometimes, taking a bullet for a stranger changes everything. Sometimes, from tragedy comes the most beautiful family anyone could ask for. And Marcus, Victoria, and Emma were living proof that love can heal any wound, forgive any mistake, and create miracles from the ashes of pain.